You felt it. That strange disconnect between what you're trying to create and what keeps showing up in your reality. Like you're broadcasting one frequency, but the universe is responding to something else entirely. You know your intention is clear. You know your vision is crystalline. Yet the field keeps mirroring back confusion, delay, almost, but not quite manifestations that feel like cosmic static. Like someone else is holding the remote to your reality and changing the channel just as your program is about to come through. What you're experiencing isn't manifestation failure. It's signal interference at the quantum level. Every monad, every consciousness leaves frequency signatures in the quantum field like footprints in wet sand. But here's what most people don't realize. Those signatures don't disappear when you evolve past them. The version of you that was terrified of being seen is still broadcasting fear frequencies. The version that felt unworthy is still transmitting scarcity signals. The version that played small to stay safe is still pulsing limitation codes into the field. You think you've outgrown these identities, but the field is still receiving their transmissions, and the universe doesn't care which signal is current. It responds to the sum total of everything emanating from your quantum signature. This is why your manifestations feel scrambled, why you can visualize abundance but attract inconsistency, why you can hold the frequency of love but keep magnetizing drama. You're not broadcasting one clean signal. You're broadcasting 7 different frequencies simultaneously, and they're canceling each other out like competing radio stations on the same bandwidth. The field receives this as noise, not music, and noise creates chaotic reflections. The universe is mirroring back exactly what you're transmitting. Signal confusion. Most people try to solve this by broadcasting louder, more affirmations, more visualization, more positive thinking. But you can't override phantom frequencies with volume. You can only create more interference. It's like trying to tune in a clear station by turning up the radio while 7 other stations are still playing in the background. The noise just gets louder. The real work isn't amplification. It's archaeology. It's archaeology. You have to dig into your quantum signature and locate the phantom transmissions that are contaminating your primary signal. This is signal archaeology, the practice of excavating your frequency history to identify which versions of yourself are still broadcasting without permission. Because every major transition in your life created identity spaghettification. When you left that relationship, changed careers, moved cities, evolved your beliefs, part of the old identity structure stretched across the event horizon but never fully collapsed. These phantom selves don't disappear. They become ghost transmitters, sending outdated signals into the field from timelines you thought you'd left behind. The old you that was afraid to speak up at meetings, still broadcasting submission frequencies. The version that settled for less because it felt safer, still transmitting scarcity codes. The identity that believed it had to struggle to deserve success, still pulsing resistance patterns into your quantum field 24 hours a day. These aren't memories, they're active transmissions. And until you locate them and consciously collapse their signal, they will continue to interfere with every frequency you're trying to broadcast now. You can feel these phantom frequencies when you're trying to make a bold move, and suddenly your nervous system floods with old fear patterns that make no logical sense. When you're claiming a new level of success, and ancient unworthiness programs start running in the background. When you're stepping into love, and outdated protection mechanisms start broadcasting walls-up signals to potential partners. That's not self-sabotage. That's signal interference from versions of yourself that are still trying to keep you safe in timelines that no longer exist. The field doesn't distinguish between conscious intention and unconscious transmission. It responds to the totality of your signal, which means every unresolved identity fragment you're carrying is voting on your reality. If 6 versions of you are broadcasting limitation, and only one is broadcasting expansion, the field receives a 6-to-1 vote for limitation. This is why manifestation isn't about getting better at wanting things. It's about signal unification, collapsing all versions of yourself into one coherent frequency signature that the universe can actually interpret and mirror back. And this work has never been more urgent. Reality is now responding to consciousness at light speed. What used to take years to manifest now appears in days, sometimes hours. The age of slow manifestation is over, which means scrambled signals don't just create delayed results anymore. They create scrambled timelines in real time. Every phantom frequency you're carrying is no longer just blocking your desires. It's actively generating parallel realities based on outdated programming. The universe has become too responsive for signal confusion. Scrambled timelines, not delayed manifestation. Scrambled. The version of you that's confident calling in abundance while the old version whispers, "Who do you think you are?" creates a quantum interference pattern. The field receives both signals simultaneously and mirrors back confusion, financial opportunities that appear and dissolve, relationships that feel almost right but never align. Every manifestation arriving distorted because your transmission is being split across multiple identity frequencies that refuse to collapse into one. The mechanism is identity spaghettification at the event horizon of change. Every time you evolved, left the job, ended the relationship, moved cities, part of your old identity stretched across the transition without fully releasing. Those fragments didn't disappear into the quantum field. They remain tethered to your signal, broadcasting their outdated frequency signature like phantom radio stations you forgot to turn off. Your current self thinks it's transmitting sovereignty while 3 versions ago is still broadcasting scarcity from the background. This is exactly why traditional manifestation feels like screaming into static. You're not dealing with limiting beliefs. You're dealing with competing transmissions from unresolved identity fragments that are actively contradicting your conscious signal. The field doesn't hear your current intention clearly because it's being scrambled by phantom frequencies from the version of you that was rejected, abandoned, or forced to play small. Those fragments are still selecting timelines based on their unhealed frequency signature. Remember when we said the field mirrors back whatever you're broadcasting? It's mirroring back all of you, not just the version you prefer. The confident entrepreneur and the terrified child who was told they'd never amount to anything. The sovereign creator and the people pleaser who learned love meant abandoning themselves. Every unresolved fragment is casting its vote for your timeline, creating signal chaos that manifests as chaos in your physical reality. The signal archaeology protocol begins with recognition. You cannot collapse what you refuse to acknowledge. Most people carry forward 80% of their previous identity's frequency signature without conscious awareness. The version of you that learned to make yourself small to avoid punishment is still broadcasting submission from your solar plexus. The part that was betrayed is still transmitting distrust from your heart center. These aren't memories. These are active frequency generators influencing your present moment signal. True signal discipline is monad unification, the conscious collapse of all identity fragments into one coherent transmission. This isn't integration therapy. This isn't healing your inner child. This is quantum mechanics applied to consciousness architecture. You locate each phantom frequency by feeling where your signal splits when you visualize your desired reality. Where does the transmission fragment? Which part of your body broadcasts doubt, while your mind broadcasts certainty? That split is an unresolved identity fragment competing for timeline selection. The collapse happens when you broadcast the frequency signature of the unified monad, the version of you that has integrated every fragment into sovereign wholeness, not by forcing the old identities to disappear, but by consciously selecting which signal reaches the field. Every phantom frequency collapses when it realizes it was never separate from source. Your signal becomes singular, coherent, undiluted, and the field finally has a clear transmission to mirror back. This is timeline jumping as daily practice. This is reality authorship from the quantum level up.